Hey guys, welcome to Solo ReacTalk. This evening I'm going to be reacting to Stellaris Invicta Season 3. This was a request from Isaac Pi 9432. Yes, and you'll find Stellaris Invicta Season 3 on the Templin Institute YouTube channel. Yes, it's been a long time since I watched the GTU, the Greater Terran Union, as well as the Antares Confederacy. And yeah, it's good to be back with Season 3. Hopefully it's going to be just as action-packed and full of political intrigue like the previous installments. So yeah, can't wait. Now, the voting period has already ended for the 5 human empires that are going to be, chosen, one of the 5. The voting period ended on the 31st of January, if I'm not mistaken. So it's over. I don't know who won. I don't know who won the vote for the 5 different empires. And the voting period for the alien empires that can spawn in Stellaris Invicta Season 3 is still ongoing, if I'm not mistaken. And the voting period is going to end on the 14th of February. Yes. So there's still time if you guys want to vote or you want to put in your submissions for the different types of alien empires that you want to be spawned in the galaxy. I don't know how many empires are they planning to put in their galaxy, or how large their galaxy is going to be, whether it's going to be a large, medium or small, and maybe a full 30 complement of alien empires are going to be present in that galaxy. I don't know. But yeah, good luck to all those who are going to be voting and participating in creating, those alien civilizations. And yeah, I'm going to be focusing on the 5 possible human empires. Let me just go check the videos here. The first one is the Eternal Kreventum. That sounds like something with the shroud. Eternal Kreventum. It sounds like Tevinter Imperium from Dragon Age. And the Tevinter Imperium were focused on magic. They were focused on mysticism and blood magic, and terrible things were happening in the Tevinter Imperium. So Eternal Kreventum sounds like the Tevinter Imperium. So we're going to be dealing with the shroud in this empire, possibly. House of Triton, it sounds like an imperial fiefdom. Maybe the House of Triton is a fiefdom of an empire, an alien empire, or a human empire. And, it's kind of like Dune with the houses of... the houses in Dune. I forgot the name of the emperor or the empire. But, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Probably House of Triton is a vassal of the Imperial Core, and yeah, it's led by humans. Holy Solar Empire sounds like a militarism, spiritualist empire. Yeah, it kind of sounds like Warhammer 40k, so it's going to be interesting, I think, as well. Yeah, and Tripartite of Soul, that sounds like a common ground origin. Maybe, since it's a tripartite, it's 3. So it could be like 3 human empires, joined together in a common union to defend Earth or something. I don't know. Tripartite of Soul sounds like a Federation origin story, and it's going to be, having a lot of political intrigue in it. That's what I'm assuming. A lot of political intrigue, and eventually something is going to break the Tripartite of Soul. It's possible. Yeah. United Federation of Nations sounds like the United Nations. Just, with federated states of the United Nations, if I can say that. It sounds like any of the sci-fi TV shows like The Expanse, with the United Nations controlling the entire planet, or should I say the UN having authority and sovereignty over Earth as Earth's government. Yeah. So basically, I think the United Federation of Nations is something similar to that, where there is one global government but the federated states have a say in national issues pertaining to Earth. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, let's start with the first one, and it will be the United Federation of Nations. Yeah. Okay. Before I forget, remember, if you want to check out the original videos, I'm going to put the links in the description below, as well as the Templin Institute YouTube channel. Yes. Oh, if you want to check out my reaction to the Greater Terran Union, as well as the Antares Confederacy, I'll put the playlist card links in the description, as well as on the top here. Yeah, you'll find the cards for the 2 playlists at the top right here. Okay, let's start. 3, 2, 1, go. United Federation of Nations.
At the end of the 21st century, as the effects of climate change accelerated beyond even the ability of the most fervent skeptics to ignore, came renewed hope that humanity would finally be roused to action.
Yeah, that's not happening. No, there needs to be blood, there needs to be destruction, there needs to be untold pain and suffering. And then maybe then we will unite to save the planet from ourselves. That's just the way we are.
75 million people were vaporized instead, a limited nuclear exchange that marked the start of the Great Pacific War. By the time that conflict had become truly global, hundreds of cities were underwater, half the world's farmlands had been devoured by barren wastes, and mankind was on the path to extinction. A near mythical final offensive and a surprise coup d'etat decisively ended the fighting, but the damage to the planet appeared irreparable. In desperation, the powerful supranational unions that had emerged out of the fighting united their efforts into their last few remaining hopes. Over the course of the war, enormous leaps in technology had been made. Capable of immense destruction, now they represented a final gambit to save mankind. The first great success of the United Federation of Nations prevented the complete collapse of civilization. Their second opened a vast new frontier.
They were probably, focusing their efforts not only to protect or should I say preserve Earth, but, to find a second Earth.
The ignition of a hyperspace engine was the defining moment in the history of mankind, for 302 seconds, at which point it was eclipsed by first contact with the representatives of the Star Empire.
The Star Empire.
In the initial exchanges, this powerful alien race expressed only their wish for peaceful coexistence and the offer of a brighter future.
Okay. Well, Earth is really in no position to, say no. I don't think they're in any position to say no. Yeah.
A limited technological and cultural exchange built the foundations of trust on both sides. It was strengthened even further when humanity was introduced to the Empire's client races.
Oh, client races. Okay, so are we dealing with a scion? Or are we dealing with a hegemon? Or are we dealing with an imperial fiefdom? And since it's a Star Empire, I suspect it is a fiefdom. Yeah. So, will the United Federation join the fiefdom?
In exchange for some autonomy on the interstellar stage, these civilizations had been offered technology and assistance in recovering from their own wars or calamities, or merely access to new markets and networks that might elevate their quality of life. In discussions of membership, the diplomats of each race were upfront about its costs and convincing in its benefits. Finally, the United Federation of Nations voted to become the 5th protectorate of the Star Empire. The Imperials were true to their word, and with alien technology and systems, the recovery of Earth's environment began showing dramatic signs of progress. Humanity adapted quickly to life within the Star Empire. Its corporations, innovations, ideas, and culture quickly recognized as valuable contributions. But the cracks in the Imperial Foundation were far more visible from the inside. The Empire had become stagnant, and the rapid acceptance of humanity was recognized as a symbol of weakness rather than strength. Federation intelligence believes the Empire has less than a century of life left to it. Its collapse might come in any number of ways, and contingency plans for each eventuality are being drafted. It will be a time of immense opportunity, but any path to independence or hegemony must be tread with the utmost care. Earth has its rivals in the Star Empire, species whose predatory instincts have been tempered by Imperial membership, but are just waiting to be unleashed. Every preparation must be made, so when that day finally arrives, the United Federation of Nations can act swiftly and decisively.
In one hand you have the hand of friendship, in the other a gun at the ready.
The United Federation of Nations is the first of 5 interstellar empires with the potential to become the subject of Stellaris Invicta Season 3. While it might be tempting to view it as the generic, baseline, egalitarian democracy option, I see the Federation as the most dynamic of our choices, with unlimited potential to adapt and change and end the game as something completely new entirely. Some early diplomacy with our Imperial overlords and fellow fiefdoms will add some flavor to the early and mid-game, but after that, who knows where we'll end up. So if you'd like to cast your vote for the United Federation of Nations, a pledge of just $2 on our Patreon will get you access to the polls when they open this Friday, January the 23rd. And to learn just a bit more about how this nation might function in-game, check out our social media where some additional information has just been released.
Yeah, the United Federation of Nations does sound interesting, especially from the background of how Earth was at the verge of, being completely destroyed, and from the ashes, a new organization has ruled over Earth, and they're focused on building ships that can use faster than light technology. Probably, like I've stated before, they were focusing on trying to colonize another world before Earth was, just too far gone to be saved. And here they are. They've been found by a Star Empire, and they have joined the Imperial fiefdom of the Star Empire. But yeah, they got issues now. There's potential competitors in the fiefdom that would want to destroy Earth and humanity. Or conquer, or the Star Empire is still going to push to survive somehow. Yes, they might be stagnant, but there are no pushovers, and they will try their level best to keep their fiefdom alive, or they will be swept aside by a far larger or bigger fish. And Earth might have to capitulate to a new Star Empire. So yeah, we might survive and break away from the Empire, or we might be having a new management. We might be under the control of a new management. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. If people have chosen the what is it called again? The United Federation of Nations. Yeah. If people chose the United Federation of Nations, then definitely it's going to be exciting to see how, this human empire survives through these turbulent waters of being a fiefdom. Yeah. Okay. Next, let's see. Next, let's try, yes, the Tripartite of Soul.
The Great Solar War ended on the same ground where it had begun, atop the ruins of the old Roman fortress of Castra Martis, where the rusty sands met the burning slopes of Olympus Mons. For 7 months...
Olympus Mons? On Earth? Isn't that supposed to be on Mars?
7 days and 7 hours, Rome's final Martian legion had held the battlements, until the skies above were filled with the great ships of the Han and the Inca.
The Han and the Inca? Yo? Okay, this background of this human possible empire is just different. The timeline is so different. Rome still exists, the Inca and the Han. Wow. Han Dynasty, yeah. Oh, wow.
Having overwhelmed the orbital blockade at long last. The siege was broken, swiftly and bloodily, and though the outer system campaigns would stretch onward for nearly 2 years thereafter, the power of the Axiomites, the Mississippi Empire, and the martyred Khans that had rallied them,
the Mississippi Empire, ooh,
had all but bled out. Neither the last battles fought across the Jovian moons, nor the atomic attacks on Earth itself could affect the inevitable.
So they're already a spacefaring civilizations on Earth. You know, they are fighting in the solar system. Okay.
Victory in the solar system would belong to the Tripartite. An unholy alliance, the Tripartite of Sol brought together powerful nations that more than once in their long histories had warred with one another for resources, territory, and prestige. The Celestial Empire of the Han, the Imperium Romanum, and the Realm of the Four Parts. Each
Realm of the Four Parts
had suffered and inflicted suffering on the others, in countless battles across the Silk Roads of India and Asia, the conquests of the New World, and the plague wars that followed. Though mutual economic interests at times brought these nations together, such partnerships were either rare, brief, or both. Only an enemy like the Northern Federation could have united them, and as the fighting spread over land, sea, air, space, and centuries, a tenuous martial bond was forged. The triumph of the Tripartite has given the burned and battered Earth its first real chance to heal, but the ambitions of its leaders are far grander. In the final days of the fighting, just before the armistice, multiple events were detected on the edge of the solar system, indicative of faster-than-light transit. It was a feat of technology beyond the capabilities of the Tripartite, and its consequences were immediately understood. The Northern Federation had lost the solar system, but secured entry into the wider galaxy.
So the Northern Federation is going to become a offshoot empire of Earth?
In such circumstances, the Tripartite, founded in war, must become the united face of empire.
So you could say it's like a lost colony origin. Well, no, I'm wrong about that. Never mind.
No nation alone can bear the expense of the interstellar frontier, but together they might expand outwards and forge new destinies across the stars.
So who will be the face of this government? Since we can only have one leader being shown on the leader screen or the leader board information, you know. You can only have one person on top there who's the leader. And then, of course, you'll have everybody else becoming council members. of the government. And since it's these three nations that have united their strength, you would think that the government would be led by three, heads of state. But maybe they'll just they'll be forced to choose one, because that's how the game is also set. You can only have one leader representing your nation. Yeah.
Yet, whether the Federation has re-established itself elsewhere, or Sol is entirely surrounded by hostile alien powers, the greatest threat to the Tripartite will almost certainly arise from within.
Yeah, I see that happening too.
Whatever else it might be, or has the potential to become, the alliance between the Imperium, the Celestial Empire, and the Realm of Four Parts began as one of convenience.
I wonder how are they going to make this game, especially because of the internal politics of the Tripartite of Sol. How are you going to bring that to the fore when you are playing Stellaris? Because I don't think there's going to be any sort of events focusing on the internal politics of the Tripartite of Sol. So is that just going to be something added into the videos focusing on the story of Stellaris Invicta Season 3? I'm just wondering about that. Yeah. Because yes, you can have internal strife or civil unrest in your empire, and if you lose one of your planets, then it becomes its own sovereign independent state. That does happen. But now how are we going to, or should I say, how is the Templin Institute going to make a story centered around the political differences and the intricacies of the Tripartite of Sol? Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be very interesting how they square this circle. It's going to be very interesting.
The cracks in its foundations run deep, and what survived in war may not survive in peace.
The Tripartite of Sol is the second of 5 interstellar empires with the potential to become the subject of Stellaris Invicta Season 3. Like so many of us, it finds itself divided between its reason, spirits, and appetite, a contest of the soul that can only end in disaster. As this empire expands into the interstellar frontier, each of its constituent nations will claim primacy over its colonies until at some point the Tripartite will collapse in spectacular fashion. Can it be reborn? Will one of its members come to dominate the others? Only the Shroud knows. If you'd like to cast your vote for the Tripartite of
only the Shroud knows. Nice.
Sol, a pledge of just $2 on our Patreon will get you access to the polls when they open this Friday, January the 23rd. And to learn a bit more about how this nation might function in game, check out the social media where some additional information has just been released.
Okay. The Tripartite of Sol, yes. At least the Templin Institute is informing that they're going to post more information on the background of the Tripartite of Sol. I think they've already done that because the voting period has already ended on the 31st of January. So yeah, I'll just have to look for that information on their social media accounts. Just to understand, just to gauge on how exactly is this going to work in conjunction with the gameplay of Stellaris. Because in Stellaris, on your leader tab, you can only have one. You can only have one man or woman or machine or energy-based life form leading your nation. You can only have one. You can't have 3. So I just want to understand how is the Tripartite of Sol going to operate exactly. In conjunction with the story of the Tripartite of Sol. because the political intrigues and the political backstory of the three nations has to correlate with the gameplay in some sort of way. So yeah, I will look up that information on their social media accounts just to understand how is it all going to work out in terms of Stellaris and then the story that is going to be pushed into the gameplay as well. Yeah. Okay, next. Let's go. Here it is. Holy Solar Empire.
Legends tell of the before time, of the long, long ago, an age known to myth as modernity. Blessed was man of this era, witness to the gods themselves as they bestrode the earth.
Wait, are those the gods? Man, that is scary. That is scary. Like in the clouds, you just see these humanoid figures just looking down at you. Oh, that's scary.
Towering giants of splendor and wrath. They taught the first secret to humanity, how to raise unearthly riches from the soil, how to propel oneself from the clouds, and how the peoples of all nations might prosper through lifetimes of amity.
Probably this empire or these gods come from an empire that's been watching over us. They've been watching over us and giving us first contact, types of situations. Yeah. And they've been giving us technology, teaching us about the galaxy and about everything else. Yeah. Until, they want to use us for something, we rebel against them, and, we'll have to go fight against our would-be gods. Yeah. What's the origin story of that again? I forgot. Oh my gosh. I think it is first contact, right? I could be wrong. It's either, I think it was called Broken Shackles, the origin story, or was it Payback? Yeah, it's either one of the two, Payback or Broken Shackles. Yeah.
And peace. But the final gift of the gods eclipsed all others in its majesty. High atop Mount Olympics, America,
Mount Olympics,
goddess of liberty, Kaina, god of industry, Rasvia, goddess of winter, Britamsi, goddess of the seas, and Morth Sophia, god of abundance, unleashed the light of Valhalsium, greatest of the realms in the high heavens. Those gods were joined by countless others until their divine lights had spread to every corner of the earth, and for the briefest of moments, the gates of paradise were opened to all with the courage to enter. But man was weak, and there were some who refused the offer of the gods. The ignorant, the cowardly, the accursed. In their final moments on the mortal plane, the old gods cursed those who had spurned their gifts. The gates
Definitely this is payback. This is payback.
Of Valhalsium were forever sealed, while the realms of earth beneath turned to ash and echoes. Amidst the burning ruins of their forefathers, the surviving hosts of man warred against one another. Electric kings, covens of interwitches, multitudes of tyrants, both strange and powerful, each built new dominions out of the bones of the old. They promised the return of the gods through great works or ambitious campaigns of conquest. None succeeded. 1,000 years passed as humanity devoured itself without purpose, without restraint, without hope.
But there will be one chosen one who will bring you out from this doldrum.
There had been no lie in the decree of the gods. For those that toiled on the hell of earth, the path to Valhalsium was shut and barred. No soul could enter. But there was one who returned. On a night rich in providence, a fiery chariot streaked across the darkened skies,
Must have been a ship. A fiery chariot.
blazing with such holy light that a sliver of the afterlife was visible in its wake. It crashed to Earth, and from its crater arose a lone survivor. One by one, the stranger traveled through the realms of man, graced with wisdom that could only be divine. Untold multitudes flocked to his banner, zealots, eccentrics, and madmen who threw themselves upon the earth to embrace the charred and ruined soil over which his shadow passed. On the fields of bone, he slew the hated despot Chugoth. In the wastelands of Astatralia, the road warrior kings themselves knelt in fealty before his banners. And in the ruined city of Pesht Budar, he claimed his capital and his throne.
Nice.
It was here that Romulus Chuck, the rider of the flame, the man who fell, was crowned the first High Solar of the Holy Solar Empire.
Romulus Chuck. That's an interesting name.
As his legions swept through the last holdouts of the wastelands, bringing them into the fold of the Empire, they unearthed knowledge long thought lost. The thinking machines they uncovered spoke many lies, but contained enough truth to free man from his prison. Romulus Chuck himself became the first in 1,000 years to slip the surly bonds of the hell on Earth, disappearing into a distant, fiery star. Prophecies tell he entered back into the gates of Valhalsium to feast throughout eternity until his final work is done and he returns once more to his people. For just as the old gods' final gift was their greatest, the last scripture of the High Solar Romulus Chuck would serve as the sole commandment of his empire for every generation to come. It speaks of a machine, an engine. If it can be built, if it can be activated, then the holy light of Valhalsium might return, reaching out to sweep through not just a single world or single people, but every world. Everyone.
The Holy Solar Empire has emerged from a world gone mad. It's the third of 5 empires with the potential to become the focus of Stellaris Invicta Season 3. And if it wins, one of the big features of this playthrough will be a little feature called the Monarchy Dice. Every time a new High Solar ascends the throne, we'll roll the dice to determine the quirks of their personality. And as they get older, the consequences of this might grow more severe. As such, the powers behind the throne might need to cede some authority to different factions in our Discord. Extreme doses of radiation, as it turns out, is not conducive to effective leadership. If you'd like to cast your ballot for the Holy Solar Empire, a pledge of just $2 on our Patreon will get you access to the polls when they open this Friday, January 23rd. And to learn a bit more about how this nation might function in-game, check out our social media where some additional information has just been released.
Okay. Yeah, the Holy Solar Empire does have some Warhammer 40k, sprinkle in it. But it's also giving me Payback Origins. If you guys know of the Origin Payback in Stellaris, then you know about fighting against your overlords, the aliens that are far advanced that call themselves your guides or your teachers or your gods or whatever it might be. You fight against them, you win against them, and you start off the game with no star base, if I'm not mistaken, and no ships, and you have to build yourself up and prepare yourself to fight against those that enslaved you in the past. So it does have some sort of like Payback Origins in it as well, or Broken Shackles. And I suspect that there's going to be a crisis option chosen here. I suspect the Holy Solar Empire is going to become the crisis. It's going to become the crisis as they build a device that will send them to their heaven. So yeah, I see some Nemesis DLC being used in this potential gameplay. Definitely. Yeah. Alright. Let us continue. House of Triton.
The myriad of honors and storied lineage of House Triton stretches back to the first chronicles of Lost Terra itself. In the labyrinthine archives maintained beneath their palatial capital, the oldest histories reference the legendary names of Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and the pivotal role of the house's forefathers in taming the ancient frontier of Great Sol. Of the many corporate empires harnessed by Terra during this mythic era, Triton's wealth was carved from the ice. As the first nations of the outer planets were overwhelmed by the masses fleeing the battlefields of Terra, Venus, and Mars, the value of water surpassed that of gold. The Triton Corporation, and its monopoly over the lives of billions, was ready to dictate the fate of nations.
Okay. Oh, interesting. I thought it would be a fiefdom. It will be part of a fiefdom, I should say. But it doesn't seem to be heading down that path. Okay.
Some records tell that Triton ruled territories in the outers of Great Sol directly, but any claimancy to such titles has long since been lost. All that can be said in their place is that Triton was among the many powers of Terra awarded stewardship over some of the very first extrasolar colonies. Which side Triton took during the corporate wars that collapsed the Second Federation is another mystery, one of the many secrets locked away in the house's archives, kept even from those who tend them. Throughout the rampant wars and disasters that defined the First Interstellar Age, Triton's influence waxed and waned, but never quite vanished from the galaxy. It was listed among the victims of the Antares massacres, honored among the battle fleets in the Miracle at Ursa Minor, and named a participant in the first conclave at Holy Gemini. Yet, in the conquests of the Starlight Emperor that marked the Second Solar Age, Triton was among the clearest victors. A close partner to the Emperor, its leadership ascended the newly founded royal aristocracy, one of the first great houses of the Solar Imperium.
Solar Imperium.
In the golden age of mankind's dominion, Triton helped to maintain the delicate balance of power that defined the greater peace. But those days too are now long since past. The extragalactic invaders arrived without warning, bringing such terrible slaughter and carnage that even the great might of the Imperium only barely prevailed. The Emperor was killed, the throne world destroyed, and even in victory, the great houses left scattered and isolated in a hostile, fallen age. On the world of Callistus, the final preparations of House Triton are being made. Technologies have been rediscovered, the ancient starports restored, and the stars overhead, long out of reach, now burn once more in the ambitions of man. By one method or another, the Imperium must be restored. For the galaxy has taught mankind terrible lessons, in treasure, in time, in blood.
I think the origins for this empire is going to be remnants. They'll be on a destroyed, Ecumenopolis world, a relic world that they will have to rebuild, probably. I don't know. That's what I'm assuming. yeah, I can't really pinpoint what type of origin story will have, you know, a synergy with this storyline that we're being given about this empire, this human empire, the House of Triton. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm thinking remnants. Yeah.
And sacred among these, a warning. Suffer not the Xenos in the galaxy of man.
Okay, xenophobic start as well.
House Triton is the fourth of 5 nations with the potential to become the subject of Stellaris Invicta Season 3, but the galaxy it exists within is rather unique, inspired by a trip to the desert my friend Frank and I took on psychedelics. If House Triton wins, we'll be asking our community to submit not only alien empires, but other human houses formerly of the Imperium. We'll work to find those human houses and rally them under a new empire, and ensure a human-only, or at least a very human-friendly galaxy. If you'd like to cast your vote for House Triton, a pledge of just $2 on our Patreon will get you access to the polls when they open this Friday, January 23rd. And to learn a bit more about how this nation might function in-game, check out our social media where some additional information has just been released.
Okay, yeah, House Triton. Like I stated before, maybe the origins will be remnants or void dwellers. It's possible. And yeah, it does sound like an interesting, human empire that people can vote for. Wanting to rekindle a human hegemony or human empire by making sure that the other lost colonies of the solar empire are reclaimed and rejoin the effort of having humanity be strong again. And yeah, conquest of the galaxy is definitely on the cards. Definitely is on the cards. And yeah, it's going to be very interesting, I think. It has a xenophobic side to it as well, but they are not like, for example, they are not like the Holy Solar Empire, where they might choose to become the crisis. I don't think House of Triton wants to destroy the galaxy in any sort of way. Rule the galaxy, definitely. Become probably like the Galactic Empire. That's also a possibility. Yeah. So they would rather control than destroy, like the Holy Solar Empire. That's what I think. Now, next up, the final video, Eternal Kreventum.
The distant ancestors of humanity emerged into a world of nightmares. They shared the forests, fields, and hills with far older things. Nameless terrors that made feeding grounds and charnel pits out of the primal realms of man. But the era of blood and shadow over which these creatures ruled has long since passed. One by one, they were hunted down across the ages and rent with tooth and sword and bolt. The old terrors faded into myth, but their slaughter left their mark on mankind, a malady of the soul, ancient and raw, that time could never heal. Instead, it lay dormant, waiting. When precisely the aberration first appeared is impossible to say with certainty. The initial differences in human behavior and biology were subtle, easily missed. Even as it spread across the world, it remained hidden, shrouded within the rampant wars and environmental degradation that marked the modern world.
I'm thinking of On the Shoulders of Giants origin with this one, with this empire. That's what I'm thinking. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's Teachers of the Shroud. Maybe. And what was that other one called again? Endbringers? Was it Endbringers? Probably. I don't know. I forgot.
Till finally, imperceptibly, a tipping point was reached. Nothing could explain the growing understanding across the human race. Religious strife, ethnic conflicts, competition for resources, every grievance that had once propelled armies into battle gradually lost their urgency, smothered by the growing influence of the aberration.
Okay. All right.
What followed was a golden era, a time of vitality, enthusiasm, and progress unmatched in human history. A new kind of social cohesion was emerging, seamlessly integrating spontaneous communities behind common goals and motives. No grand declaration or stunning triumph marked the end of the beginning. Instead, there simply came a night when the last pretenses slipped away. Everywhere darkness fell, the souls of mankind's billions arose in unison to erase the world as it had been.
Was this due to some sort of anomaly related to the Shroud? Or is this the influence of a alien species that is trying to create some sort of just out consciousness? Because if everybody on the planet is in unison thinking of one thing at that very point or moment, then it sounds like some sort of gestate consciousness. Yeah, so some aliens trying to make it like a hive mind of some sort, I don't know. Or it is Shroud related. Yeah.
By the dawn, a supreme power had emerged in its place, the last nation of man, eternal Kreventum. Not since that night has humanity ever again acted in perfect concert, but the aberration, the understanding, remains. With eternal Kreventum has come an awareness that every soul might be guided by an unseen hand, and a terrible purpose found in its bloody grip. Even those who have resisted its pull cannot ignore forever the intrusive thoughts that might be found in the deepest recesses of their own mind. The voices that whisper answers. Answers to the question of why humanity no longer needs to sleep, needs to eat, needs to breathe, needs to die. They confide that humanity's rebirth and the rise of eternal Kreventum was neither arbitrary nor benign. The ancient terror in man's soul has reawakened. For somewhere, out in the darkness, it senses arrival. And when it finally arrives, it must be met by a far more dangerous predator, possessing a hunger too vast for the entire galaxy to slake.
There's a bad moon on the rise, my friends. Eternal Kreventum is the last of our 5 nations with the potential to become the focus of Stellaris Invicta Season 3. I've always been a fan of the trope evil in the service of good, so the plan here is to have an especially punishing late-game crisis. Can Eternal Kreventum become an unlikely hero to save the peoples of the galaxy and all their precious blood? If you'd like to cast your vote for Eternal Kreventum, a pledge of just $2 on our Patreon will get you access to the polls when they open right now. Head over to the Templin Institute Patreon, where a poll to select your candidate is now live. But if you'd first like to check out a bit more information about how this nation might function in-game, head over to our social media, where some additional information has just been released. There'll be a 1-week period to cast your vote on Patreon before we regroup at the end of the month, January the 31st.
Okay, that was the Eternal Kreventum. Yeah, I'm not sure about the origin. I'm not sure about the origin of this empire. There might be mind wardens. There might be mind wardens, or it's something else. I just can't put my finger on the origin story for this human empire. Yeah, if people have voted in for the internal Kreventum, I will know, what type of origin story they have and how are they going to become the possible savior of the galaxy in an endgame crisis situation. Yeah, I'll just have to wait and see. Or I can just go on their website, not website, their social media accounts just to see more information pertaining to this human empire. Yeah, it does sound interesting, but I think I like the others a bit more than this one. Yeah, I think maybe I need to listen to it again just to try and understand it completely, what is going on. But yeah, the Kreventum is the last on my list, if I can say that. It's the last on my list. My first pick will have to be the Holy Solar Empire. I want to see this human empire become a crisis. I want us to be the bad guys who want to eliminate all life in the galaxy, just so that we can enter into heaven. It's gonna be so fun. It's really gonna be so fun. So yeah, I think number 1 will be the Holy Solar Empire. Number 2 will be House of Triton. Yeah, House of Triton also, very materialistic, and wanting to conquer, to have conquest for humanity, and for the scattered human empires to be under one flag. I like that as well. Tripartite of Soul will be number 4. Number 3. Yes, number 3. And then United Federation of Nations will be number 4. And then the last one will be Eternal Kreventum. Yeah. So number 1, Holy Solar Empire. Hopefully you guys have chosen Holy Solar Empire. Really, I want us to be the crisis in this storyline in Season 3 of Stellaris Invicta. We need to be the crisis. We need to be the bad guys. So yeah, hopefully that's what has happened. And yeah, I can't wait to see the gameplay. I think it's in March or April, right? So yeah, can't wait to see what happens in the gameplay. Yeah, guys, that's it. Thanks again to Isaac Pi 9432 for the request. It's been really good to see all of these videos. And of course, the Templin Institute, good luck, good work, keep it up. And I cannot wait to see what you guys are going to do with all the information that has been voted upon, that has been submitted, and how this game is going to plan out for whichever empire is going to be the focus. Yeah, can't wait to see it. Alright guys, that's it. Remember, if you want to check out the original videos as well as Templin Institute YouTube channel, yes, the links are going to be in the description below. If you like my reaction, give it a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Click on the notification bell if you want to be up to date with my latest videos. And I'll see you guys next time when Stellaris Invicta Season 3 finally airs on YouTube. Yeah. Bye-bye.